This is Jamie Drummond for Good Food Revolution. I am here with Jean Benoit, aka JB, from Cave de Tain, who's joining us all the way from the northern Rhône. How are you today, sir?
Very well, thank you.
So, I've been reading a bit about Cave de Tain. Their name was familiar to me, but Andrew Jeffer, the UK wine writer, has said that you're one of the very best cooperatives in the world. Why do you think he has these thoughts about Cave de Tain?
Well, first of all, it was nice to hear that comments. I think the Cave de Tain, we are all the cooperative, and we are sticking to our basic for many years. So we are doing strictly what we know how to do. The Northern Rhône, we have all our vineyards within 10 miles around the winery. We stick to that for 85 years. Our people in the Northern Rhône are hardworking, but humble and dedicated to quality. And I think that's the reason why we got that kind of comments. Yes.
How do you feel the cooperative has evolved over the years, since you have been with the company?
Well, actually, we definitely is really based on a lot of work and really the knowledge of terroir. So for years, every year, we develop our knowledge and still continuing to develop our knowledge of each parcel, each terroir, each parcel, and every year we do more and more parcel selection, and this is what brings the quality up year after year. It's definitely the work that we are doing on a daily basis to understand better each terroir, but even each parcel individually.
How many cases do you make on average per year?
Cases, we are counting in bottle in France.
Yes,
so let's say in cases we do cases of 12. You mean?
Yes.
400,000 cases of 12, and we are doing 5 crus. The 5 crus which are around the Tain l'Hermitage, where the winery has been founded and where the winery is. So we are producing Gros Hermitage red and white, Saint-Joseph red and white, Saint-Péret white, Cornas red of course, and then Hermitage red, white, and Vin de Paille, and a small production also of IGP wine. Everything located within 10 miles around the winery.
One of the big questions I have for co-ops when they're a quality co-op is how do you achieve that level of consistency and quality with that wine?
Definitely, it's a lot of work. Of course, making wine, the winemaking starts in September with harvest and then the vinification in the cellar, but a big part of the job is done actually before that in the vineyard. So I think it's 90% of the job is of the quality comes from the quality of the grape. So it means the care you are giving to the vineyard. So we have 2% full-time which are dedicated to follow all our vineyards. We have very strict rules of how how we manage the vineyards. We have a sustainable farming policy for now more than 10 years. Well, actually 10 years. Since 2009, we have 100% of our vineyards, which are 100% of our vineyards are run according to sustainable farming practices. So basically, definitely, I think the key is what is going on in the vineyard and how careful you are about your vineyard, how much you care about it actually.
How much of your wine is sold domestically and how much is for export?
The Northern Rhône basically are still actually very domestic wines.
Yes, I thought so.
Yes. So we sell the Northern Rhône. 80% are sold in France.
Oh, that's
and about 20% are sold abroad.
Now, why do you think that is? Why do you think the Northern Rhône is, for the average consumer, a little bit more challenging?
It's a difficult question because I think it's making it's coming from different reasons.
Yes,
One
yeah.
of the reasons is that we are very far away from the trade routes. So
Historically, yes.
historically, so historically it was very hard to ship wine outside of the Rhône, and even more outside of the northern Rhône. So that's one of the reasons why the northern Rhône wine have not been. You could not find. I mean, the northern ones really started to sell outside of France in the 80s.
Yes,
and before that. So I think this is historical reason, and very strong reason actually. So regions which are closer from the sea, like the southern Rhône, like Bordeaux or the Loire, actually they had easier access to
the merchant routes,
to the merchant road. So that's one of that's actually the strongest region, I think. And then after, the northern Rhône wines are quite expensive also.
That's simply inherent with the landscape you're farming.
Exactly. Because the northern Rhône, if you see the landscape, we have almost all our wines in Saint-Joseph, in Cornas, in Hermitage. It's almost 100% on slopes, very steep slopes where you cannot use machine. So everything is handmade, and even in Hermitage, you have about 30% which are on slopes, and 80%, 70% on the plain. So there is a lot of manual work. So it of course is pushing up the price. And when you combine the fact that you have a high price with the fact that you are far away from the commercial routes, it makes it difficult. It made it difficult in the 70s, 80s to have access to markets, and so we are just running a little behind Bordeaux or Burgundy. But more and more, what we are hearing about the Rhône in general, and even about the northern Rhône in particular, is that even if our wines are a little expensive, we offer great value for money. In comparison with other regions, and so that's one of the reasons why the northern Rhône wine are developing outside of France. Actually, over the last 20 years, there is a trend which is cannot be questioned. It's unquestionable. There is a growing percent of the northern Rhône wine which are sold outside of France.
Now, your signature grape in the northern Rhône is Syrah,
Yes.
obviously. But when one sees Syrah on the label, particularly in North America, perhaps in the UK, one immediately flicks to Shiraz. Not for myself, I'm talking about the general public here. And you've come up with quite an intriguing idea to introduce Syrah as a cool climate Syrah to the United Kingdom. Would you mind explaining that to us?
Well, actually, that's exactly what you mean. The Syrah, the origin of Syrah is from the northern Rhône. Back just maybe 10 or 15 years ago, everybody thought, and when I started in the wine business more than 20 years ago, I learned that the Syrah was probably from the Middle East, maybe from Iran or from Iraq, because there is a city which is called Shiraz, and also Syracuse, different cities, and with the development of technology, with the analysis, the DNA has been broke down, and we found out that actually the Syrah, the origin is from the northern Rhône. However, the Syrah developed a lot in a lot of warm countries, warm climate countries, especially in Australia, in California. So we felt that it was somewhere important to pass the message to the customer that the Syrah is actually originally by genetic a cool climate grape, and it gives its best in a cool climate place. This is where you find the best balance between fruitiness, spiciness, but also nice acidity, which makes the wine pleasant but also enjoyable, with a long aging potential, but not heavy or flabby or jammy. And so this is what you get when you grow Syrah under a continental climate, a cool climate like the northern Rhône. So that's why we felt that it was important to pass this message, because like Cabernet Sauvignon actually, or like Pinot Noir, those grapes are coming from places which are basically cool places.
So how do you make a cool climate Syrah that is approachable and accessible?
Well, first, of course, the maturity is important. You need to reach the maturity of the grape, but also the maturity of the skin, the maturity of the seeds. It's not only about the grape. So again, you have to take care of your vineyard. You must know your vineyard. You must know that this vineyard with that exposure needs maybe a little bit more time than the vineyard just beside, but which has a slightly different exposure. So the point actually, yes, is to wait to maturity, but not going to over maturity, and to reach the maturity of the grape, but also to reach the maturity of the seeds and the skins, so that the wines is at the same time fruity, but the wine also must have some power, some backbones, which is coming from the tannins. But those tannins must not be green; they must be ripe also. And this is this again the care that you are taking of your vineyard. And this is a lot of things. You can do a lot of things. For example, to have a better maturity of your grape, you can work on the level of leaves that you have on your vines. And what we are doing, for example, at Cave de Tain, is we on the vineyard, we remove the leaves on the eastern side, so that the grape gets the morning sun, and so that the humidity evaporate quickly to avoid risk of disease. But we leave more leaves on the west side, so that the grapes are protected from the hot sun from the afternoon and the late afternoon. And this is again based on the knowledge that you have of your vineyard, how much you should leave, how much you should remove, that at the end, when harvest is coming around September, you have grapes which are matured but not cooked by the sun, and your tannins are ripe tannins and not green tannins.